be a rough couple of months, I think. Our poor little baby's gone. But in the end, she was happy and the process went smooth. The vet helped us out, they were really slow and stuff. It was really sad. She was only 3, but the doctor said her kidneys were failing and she had Cushing's, which is like causing muscle wasting. So she went from being like 8 pounds to 3.5 pounds. Literally just skin and bones. If you had shaved her and her hair was falling out and she wasn't eating. And, so sad. And now the other dogs are, one of them's really stressed. You can tell she's like grieving. So I got to go give her some extra love and attention. Got to go give her more walks and pay attention to her. Because the past year I've been focusing all my energy on that one sick dog. Because she couldn't walk and she was blind. And she couldn't hold her bladder. She's always peeing herself, and so she was doing chemo treatments weekly. So I'm always taking her to the vet, and she had a whole pill organizer of pills. And eventually, the therapy, the chemo, and the prednisone, and all the other stuff she was taking did work out, and she was getting better. But then the medicine was so strong that her little organs couldn't take it. So then she started getting organ failure. So, when we talk to the doctor about it, they have like a quality of life assessment for euthanizing dogs, and Ponyo's quality of life on the assessment was like bad. So the doctor said pretty much like we want to do it immediately, but then she was on vacation for 3 weeks and we didn't want it to be anyone else but her. So then pretty much I upped the dose of prednisone that she was taking, and was at least able to get her to eat for the last 3 weeks she was alive. So we did a lot of like bucket lists. We did like painting where we put saran wrap over top and put peanut butter on it, and she licked the peanut butter and like stepped all over it. And then I brought her to see my fiance's parents, my mom, my dad, all my friends at the old work I used to work at. Wanted to go see children at the park. My fiance did that, and fed her lamb sirloin at my buddy's kitchen. She ate beef liver, dehydrated salmon, dehydrated duck jerky. I don't think of what else. Eggs, ham. What was the other favorite stuff? She tried a burger. She ate tuna. She ate steak. Yeah, I got AAA steak for her. That was super cute. She ate pretty much her favorite thing to do is eat, but she wouldn't eat her normal food, so you have to jazz it up. Also, she ate lots of beans, carrots. Yeah, it was really cute at the end. Lots of cheese. She loved brie. I'm really happy that we got that 3 weeks with her, and her health had somewhat stabilized, so she was at least eating, but she was incontinent to the fact where you couldn't leave her alone to go to work or she would pee herself, and then the pee is super concentrated from her kidneys failing, so then it's burning her skin, so then she would have these burns all over her skin. Her skin was all purple. I'm not sure if it was on top of that her kidneys are failing, so I don't know if she's getting varicose veins or internal bleeding, but her stomach looked really rough at the end. It was really sad. Oh. But yeah, at the end when they had to give her something that was called methadone. It's almost like fentanyl, or the doctor said she was in a lot of pain. I don't know if it's from the muscle wasting or her kidneys hurting. And she was super actually smiling, and we used to take her on walks and she would smile like that. And at first I wasn't sure if dogs actually even smiled, but I watched a Netflix documentary that dogs actually have more facial expressions than monkeys, and that they actually do smile. And it just you would see the the kind of like life draining from her as she was getting sicker and sicker, and the dogs stopped playing with her because they knew she was ill. You know, they would like go and smell her. The one dog that's like kind of grieving right now and stressed was already reducing her food intake. She would like, you know, on days that Ponyo was feeling sick and not eating, she wouldn't eat and stuff like that, and she would go like sleep with her. So you have to pay some extra attention to that one dog because she's like kind of like missing her buddy. Um, but yeah, so like her quality of life was diminished. It was really sad because she had that really rare disease, and like they said, normally like the GME in dogs, they can die within a few days. It's like when it's essentially like meningitis, where the lining of your brain swells. So doctor said the survival rate, it's literally worse than having stage 4 cancer in your brain because it's actually incurable. Where like, you know, brain cancer, they might be able to do some like new immunotherapy or like targeted radiation, or you know, there's certain chemotherapy drugs that can isolatedly shrink a tumor or whatever. But with the brain lining one, it's more of like an immune disorder, kind of like a MS, where your body attacks its own brain tissue. It's like makes your brain tissue necrotic, so like can cause like blindness, paralysis, um, crazy migraines, cluster headaches. Like at the time it was happening, her eyes looked like they were popping out of her head, and like we managed to get her to the hospital, and she had to do an MRI and a spinal tap just for them to like make sure that it was like the meningitis thing, so they can like tell if it's actually, you know, they got to decipher whether it's an immune response or whether it's bacterial, fungal. It can be like a kind of like influenza. It can happen to like pregnant women from certain types of like food poisoning and stuff. So like basically like if that happens in a human, they can die within a day. So like the fact that it happened to a dog, like normally you would just put your dog down, but Canada has a neurologist for dogs, but only in Alberta, I think it was, and only in Calgary, and it might have been like Winnipeg. So like two places in all of Canada that could actually get that therapy. What is this person doing? Jeez. Um, so yeah, that's like she at least got like over a year of like decent quality life while on the treatment. But the treatment, you could tell, was really hard on her. And like honestly, like if it was a senior dog, probably would have just been easier to put her down. But like at the time, she was only like a year and a half or something. So like she was still a puppy. You know, she had come from the Ukraine. The guy who owned her, he had cancer, so they were already like having a really bad time. So I'm like, you know, I wanted to give her a better life than she had. But you know, so it was kind of like shitty situation that she's such a nice little dog too. Like the vet said she was the best tempered Pomeranian uh, that she'd ever met. She was like super nice, polite. She never barked at other dogs. So nice to people. Um, the only time she'd actually bark is like when she would get like separation anxiety if we left her in her crate alone or whatever. But it was essentially like caring for like a special needs kid for like over a year. So like kudos to those parents that are brave enough to do that for their whole life. Like that is insane. Like that's a tremendous amount of work for a dog. I like for a 3 pound dog. I can't imagine the kind of work it would be for like changing a full grown person's diapers and feeding them and clothing them and stuff. Like I had to carry her around all day, but at least she didn't weigh much. So like, you know, the burden was more so like cleaning up like pee and accidents and having to like organize the different pills and take her to the special chemo appointments and then make sure that her, you know, chemo contaminated bed and stuff. You would have to like wear gloves because it's cytotoxic, so that can like make women infertile. It can make you sick, so you got to be like really careful because her pee after the treatment for a day was like essentially almost like radioactive. Like cytotoxic's a little different than radioactive. It's not actually like a nuclear radioactive. It's just like just really bad for you, I guess, because it's like the stuff that kills like cancer cells or whatever. but like they were also using it like for Crohn's or MS or like nuking your immune system. And like they had one other option where it was like a take home chemo, but they said if you do this, you like your fiance might not be able to have children, and like she might not be able to withstand the therapy. It might just kill her. So I'm like, okay, well, I like had to draw the line, and it's like I don't want her to be suffering. There's no point doing treatment if it's just killing her, right? So it was definitely a really hard time in my life. I feel bad for like her and the dogs. The dogs not having someone to play with, because she's sick, or me having to divide a lot of my attention to caring for her. So then they don't get the same, type of walks they need and playing with toys as much. And it was pretty sad. But like at the same time, like they were super nice to her. They never bulldozed her over, tried to play with her when she wasn't feeling well. They would like go sleep with her instead of trying to play with her, and like they were super compassionate. So like especially the little Pomeranian. So now you can tell that Pomeranian's like sad that her little buddy isn't there to sleep with. So I gotta go give her lots of snuggles because she's all stressed out now and she's not eating. She's been vibrating a lot and she's obviously nervous. So take her for lots of walks, and I'm trying to have her on my lap more, and even if I'm doing like computer work or whatever. But it sucks, man. It definitely was hard. I remember the whole week we were crying, and we put her down, we were crying and stuff. It was really hard. And it was like harder than like a human dying for some reason. Like maybe it's just because of the time you spend with them. You only see your grandparents or like your parents die or whatever, and you maybe at the end of their life you only see them once a year or something. And then a dog you're spending, you know, when you're not at work, and you're at home or with your dog, so you might be spending 16 hours a day with them. Maybe they're sleeping in the bed with you, or they're sleeping beside you, or with them the whole day. So having a dog die has definitely been one of the harder things I've dealt with. I mean, I've had health issues like hernia surgery. Family members die. Or this is dealing with suicide, maybe of a family member, or I got hit by a truck, so I had to rehabilitate my body and like go to different doctors and do surgeries, whatever, right? So like that shit sucked, but like having an ulcer sucked. You couldn't eat food and your stomach hurts and you're throwing up at night or whatever. But like dealing with the dog, I felt like I haven't had a kid yet, so I would assume it's like the only thing I could compare it to is probably like a way lesser version of losing like a child or whatever, because a dog's gonna die eventually anyways, because they only live 10 years or something. Maybe like if you're lucky, you get someone that lives 20, or the world record's 30 or whatever. So like to lose the dog when she's only 3 was like super sad for like the other dogs and my fiance and me. So I've been trying to keep up with the content live every day. It's been hard. I've been like doing a little less than usual. I still go every day, but I tried to like stream on the weekend and I wasn't really feeling it, or ever ended the stream early. But yeah, pretty much now just regroup, grieve with my family and stuff, and try to support my fiance and my dogs the best I can, give them extra love and attention. And pretty much I'm gonna work on like a video with Ponyo where I already made like a compilation of like nice videos of her, and then I think I'll get all the like photos of when like she came from Ukraine, like her Ukrainian passport and all that stuff together, and then all the medical records. Probably go over what the GME disease is, maybe for future owners of small dogs, so they can know the signs and symptoms, what to deal with. My experience with it, and her eventual experience with like the bucket list, and the eventual decision to do euthanasia and stuff, and the process behind that. Just because I feel like it would be good to advocate to find out ways to cure this disease in the future. Hopefully, for one day they can freaking take a chunk of her dandruff I have from the hair I cut and clone her and cure the disease, and I'll have her get or whatever. But it won't be the same lady. It'll be different. dog, a different soul or whatever. And but hopefully she's in doggy heaven right now, eating lots of cheeseburgers and cheese, and yeah, I miss her. But anyways, I'll be back streaming like normal, driving, playing games, but might be a little less React videos than normal, but I'll still try to pump them out. Anyways, thanks again for supporting me, and I love you. Bye bye.